And today I will share the sutta that I've been speaking about for this week, maybe towards the end, so we don't all have to get occupied by reading the suttas, but I will be sharing a link at the end. So maybe just take a few moments to settle in. We'll begin with the arriving sequence again. If you like, you can close your eyes and gently, softly, arriving as if you're arriving in a quiet meditation hall. Bring some gentle kindness, softness, and quiet as you settle in. Taking seat. Really taking your seat. And feel the contact of your body with the chair or the floor. Know that you're sitting. Arriving here on your seat. Feeling the contact of your feet on the ground. Supported by earth. Maybe there is a sense of a whole body landing here and now. Maybe a few long, deep breaths to allow yourself to settle in. Becoming available, however so slightly, to the lived experience right here and now. Sound, movements of the breath, contacts of the body. Being available evokes a sense of opening up the awareness to receive. Not wanting anything to happen. Not driven by our preferences, our wishes. Just open up. Surrender to whatever shows up. Aligning ourselves physically from ground up, sitting like a redwood, align our heart and mind, along with the uplifting body, align with the aspirations, align with the goodwill, align with non-harming, and for me, I feel a sense of ease, at ease, when there is that inner alignment with integrity, value, and goodness in our heart and mind. Softly and gently open to the felt sense of the earth element, the contact of the bones with the earth. Firmness, dance, settling downwards, resting in the felt sense of earth element in this earthy body. Maybe the sense of a stability may come in, or strength, like the big pillar holding the structure of this body. Feel the quietness of the bones, stillness, however so slightly. with the earth element in the backdrop of our awareness, becoming available to the felt sense of air element. Wind moving through our bodies. So rising and falling of the belly as you breathe. Expansion and contraction of the torso. Different kinds of vibrations and buzzing in the body. Dropping out of ideas, beliefs, feel and sense into the elements. Alive, fresh, each moment fresh. From here, we open and expand our field of awareness to receive space, space that holds the earth element, this body, space inside of the body and outside around us. A gentle opening and expanding to receive space. Space all around where the sound travels. There may be a felt sense of a spaciousness in your being, however it might show up. For me, there is a slight opening of the torso, slight opening of my shoulder blades, being available to space. There are different qualities of the felt sense of space. Lightness, openness, and sometimes there may be slight brightness to it. Or darkness. However it shows up for you. Different elements are held in space. Relax and ease into the space. There may be a different kind of a stillness related to space. A delicate kind of a space, stillness, quiet. As if you can hear the sound of a silence. Experiences can arise and pass in this vast, spacious field. And the space is unmoving, unmoved. For the rest of the meditation, you're welcome to stay with the space or receive any other experiences that may seem prominent for you. Releasing concepts, ideas. Let yourself melt away into the space. Buddha said to his son, Rahula, Rahula, meditate like a space. Or when you meditate like a space, pleasant, unpleasant contact will not occupy your mind. And space doesn't tremble by the things that happen within it. The vast spaciousness, all experiences are free to be themselves. Emotions, thoughts, sensations in the body, free to flow in the vast field of spaciousness. If there is any form of well-being, wholesome goodness that are bubbling up, allow them to permeate in the vastness. Let your whole body and mind and heart be nourished by the sense of a well-being. However much there is available to you. Welcome, everyone. Feel quite sacred to be in the space with you all. The vast space holding all of us, meditating together. Allow that goodness to touch you and maybe support you on the path. So today, we're going to continue our conversation on Sila. And then we'll speak a little bit about the last precept. And then maybe do a review on the whole territory of Sila. So this last precept, many of you would know this, is about undertaking the training rules of abstaining from intoxicants, drugs, and alcohol that leads to heedlessness or cloudiness of our minds. Well, we all know that the danger of cloudy minds, right? When our mind is not clear and acting out from that kind of a cloudiness, dullness, we know what it feels like. We know what may happen. So there is a real danger of that. And so this precept is inviting us to become really clear about this and say, oh, I'm not going to play with the fire here. And this is like, I keep on using the young children, kids as examples. I have my background, my son is playing guitar. You might even have heard this in our meditation. And so it's like I'm telling young kids not to touch the hot stove because it'll burn. And if the kids really listen and then don't go anywhere close to it, they may never get burned. And over time, they really know, there is a danger, they understand. And so the same thing with this particular precept, it's pointing to the danger of a cloudy mind and asking us, well, we've all heard so many stories about what happens when one is drunk or get intoxicated. And much harm has been done in so many different ways. So abstain from taking drugs and intoxicants that clouds our mind. But there is also a deeper dimension of this particular precept, which is that the precept is pointing at the care and the protection of a clear and pure mind and heart. This is where the cultivation of awareness comes in, right? The precept invites us to cultivate awareness, to become sensitive to the conditions that leads to cloudiness, dullness, and the conditions that leads to brightness in our mind and clarity in our mind and heart. And so that's a dimension that invites all of us to begin to pay careful attention to. In fact, it's not just intoxicants, drugs, and alcohol that clouds our mind. And you may have noticed even some food or certain activities that can cloud our mind and cloud our being. or the way we take our food, and overeating and undereating, can also lead to dullness and cloudiness of our bodies and mind. And so this cultivation of mindful awareness is to begin to tune in to kind of these forces that may happen within us and begin to learn to cultivate the conditions that support an alert, clear mind, and let go of the conditions that leads to heedlessness and cloudiness of our mind. And some of you may have seen this, that even, for nowadays, if people, play, I don't know, hours of video games, when they come out of their room, you look at them, you just kind of feel there is sort of, I don't know, that a tiredness around the person. It can kind of create a different forms of energy when we engage in activities. It really kind of dulls our mind. I remember one time when I was attending a conference in Las Vegas. There's a big casino with lots of big conference rooms. And one early morning, I was getting into the elevator to go down to the conference rooms. And there was a person walked in with a bucket of coins. It was very clear that the person had probably played a long time overnight, or who knows, maybe a whole night. And the person looked very tired. When I looked into her eyes, there were no sparks. At that moment, I felt, wow, this felt lifeless. And so it's as if this hours and maybe whole night of gambling had taken the sparks of life out of the person. So begin to pay attention to our activities, how we engage in our activities, contribute, becoming conditions that can lead to dullness and cloudiness of our mind and heart. And we learn to abstain from them. And similarly, in this meditation that we just did, maybe you have some experience, a felt sense of clarity and felt sense of alertness, aliveness, sparks of our lives. And so we begin to know, these are the conditions that brings the sparkles of our lives, life in us. And so with this kind of a clarity in our heart and mind, we can cultivate the entire Sila domain that we've been talking about, the 5 precepts. The more we become clear and aware, the more we can allow the depth and the richness of the practice of the Sila to mature in us. Because in this way, we're cultivating Sila not as some form of a dogmatic holding of, we shall not do so and so, this and that, or, I'm getting 100 out of a Sila test. Or we huff and puff and say, look at me, or judging other people. I didn't do this, and look how good I am. that's not what the Sila practice is pointing to. Instead, the practice of Sila is an integral part of cultivation of our whole heart and mind. It's an integral part of the Dharma path that leads to awakening, freedom from dukkha. And when our bodies and verbal activities are aligned with wholesome qualities of our mind and heart, our actions and the speech become a natural expressions of our heart and mind. And they bring much benefit to ourselves and to the world. And so I've been sharing the bits and pieces of this Mangala Sutta, the Sutta of Blessings, in this past week. And so I wanted to maybe read you this sutta as a whole. And this sutta has many pieces that speaks to the cultivation of Sila. And then towards the end, also speaks about the cultivation of the fruit, the fruit of cultivation of Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, heart and mind together. And so may you receive these blessings. And there are many translations, so I'm going to share the link just in a moment. And the translation that I've been sharing is based on Bhante Sujato. This is not the only translation, so you can look at the different translations and see if some of this speaks to you. And for me, not a single translation kind of speaks everything. Are connected with me in a way that I would say different translations may connect with me in different ways. So feel free to explore that. So here are the blessings. So it starts by saying that there is a deity who showed up in front of the Buddha, asking the Buddha to declare the highest blessing or the greatest of blessings. So here we go. So I have heard at one time the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jita's Grove, Anantapindika's monastery. Then, late at night, a glorious deity lightening up the entire Jita's Grove went up to the Buddha, bowed and stood to one side. That deity addressed the Buddha in verse. Many gods and humans have thought about blessings, desiring well-being. Declare the highest blessing. The deity is asking the Buddha to declare the highest blessing. Buddha said, in the first one, I'm going to use an alternative translation here, which I associate a little more. It says, not to associate with the fools, but to associate with the wise, and honoring those worthy of honor. This is the highest blessing. Like we are here together, living in a suitable region, having made merits in the past, being rightly resolved in oneself. This is the highest blessing. Education and craft, discipline and training, and well-spoken speech. This is the highest blessing. Caring for mother and father, kindness to children and partners, and unstressful work. This is the highest blessing. Giving and righteous conduct, kindness to relatives, blameless deeds. This is the highest blessing. Desisting and abstaining from evil, avoiding alcoholic drinks, diligence in good qualities. This is the highest blessing. Respect and humility, contentment and gratitude. and timely listening to the teaching. This is the highest blessing. Patience, being easy to admonish. The sight of ascetics and a timely discussion of the teaching. This is the highest blessing. Austerity and celibacy, seeing the noble truth, and the realization of extinguishment. This is the highest blessing. Though touched by worldly conditions, their mind does not tremble, sorrowless, stingless, secure. This is the highest blessing. Having completed these things, undefeated everywhere they go in safety. This is their highest blessing. So may you all find true safety within. May all beings find safety within. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm just truly delighted spending all these days with you.